I wanted to become like a game developer back when I was literally a child because of Minecraft. So yeah, I mean, one time I met Carl Jacobs at TwitchCon Amsterdam, and I told him, I was like, dude, like, you don't even know what you did. And he was like, oh. And she was like, hey, we're trying to form a team. We have someone, but they have to drop out. Do you want to join? And I was like, hell yeah, put me in, coach.
I genuinely, no word of lie, up until I talked to Kara, knew that you got paid to cast. I thought it was like voluntary.
And from then on, like sometimes I get emails saying, hey, are you interested in the show? Like it's going to happen this day. And I'm like, hell yeah, put me in. Do you feel the weight of your sins? Does it hurt? Does God's judgment fill you with guilt, torment? They're coming. They're coming.
Alright lads, welcome back to the InsideMC podcast. Today, if you can't tell by my voice, I don't know how prominent it is. I guess I'll see in editing. I'm not feeling the best. I think this happened sometime last June where I pushed through not feeling well and recorded a podcast anyways. And that's exactly what I'm doing today, because I am joined with an amazing guest who I just didn't want to miss out on, okay? I couldn't stand the thought of not recording with this guest. I am joined with Jojosolos.
Woohoo! Yeah, that's me. Guys, thanks for the round of applause. Thanks for the wonderful intro. Sorry for your cough and or whatever sickness it is you have.
I mean, I think it's just like a man flu. I mean, I've just got a cold, but you know. Have you ever had a man flu?
A man flu?
Yeah, it's basically. I guess it's just. I don't know how like common it is nowadays.
That sounds very British, so I don't know.
I guess it's used quite commonly in my house. Basically, it's just where you have a cold. Because I'm a man, I can't handle it as well. It's like using a jokey sense. So they call it. So my family call it man flu whenever I get unwell. But they're just like, oh, you over exaggerate it, basically.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. No, luckily I've never had to be a man or experience a man flu. So
nice, yeah. No, being a man isn't always made up to be, surprisingly, actually. So what a great start to the podcast. No way. Welcome on, Jojo. This
Thank
is
you.
like I kind of just I'm shocked that you're here today because your name is Jojosolos, but this is like a duo kind of podcast. You're not on your own.
Oh, well, fun fact, I do have a JoJo Duos channel as well. So like it's not, yeah, I do have a second YouTube channel, JoJo Duos. And
Why?
that's and why?
Yeah.
Why does anyone have multiple accounts of anything? Is the real question. And I just wanted to upload different types of content. So, you know, I don't know. YouTube is weird. So I was advised to do it. So I did it. All right. Maybe you should ask the YouTube bros. They're the ones who understand it better.
Fair enough. You know what? I respect it though. Like I wasn't questioning your decision. Like I wasn't judging. I was just curious as to why you decided to do it.
No, you're judging me right now.
I didn't mean to.
I'm kidding. It's fine.
I always like to give the intro for you to advertise yourself. You know, I hyped you up as this amazing guest who I fighting off a cold to record with, which is true. You are an amazing guest and I am fighting off a cold. However, who are you? What do you do? If you have a fun fact, then please share it with the listeners today.
Sure. Hi, my name is Jojosolos. I do a lot of different types of content on twitch.tv and on YouTube if I ever, you know, become consistent on that. I primarily do Minecraft, but I've been trying to become more of a variety content creator. And I guess a fun fact for people who don't really know who I am, I went to university for computer science and I have a full-time job being a software engineer. And not a lot of people know that because everyone thinks I'm a full-time content creator, but that's just not true. I work a 9 to 5 and then I work a 5 to 9 of streaming and or YouTube.
It's quite interesting. I guess since you've brought it up, I kind of want to just jump straight into that and then we can kind of go back to the whole Minecraft and stuff. Now that I have timestamps on the podcast, it's a little bit easier to do this, which is a lot nicer. When you said about like the whole software engineer, I was kind of under that category of people. It's a bit weird. Like I thought you were full time, but I didn't think you were full time. Does that make sense? Like you give full time content creator vibes. There we go. But
yeah, I mean, I guess I give the vibes, but if you just look at any one of my streams and realize I average like under 100 viewers, it's like maybe she shouldn't be full time.
But that's why the vibes bit comes into play, right? just give the vibes of someone who is, who I guess qualifies to do it full time in that kind of sense. But I think that's what like a lot of people miss with these content creators. Like, you see them and you think, oh, they're in like MCC, they have, you know, they're on all these tournaments, they stream this much, they do this, they do that, and you just instantly think, oh, these are full-time creators, they're really busy during their day, and then they stream, and then that's it, that's that. But like, when you came out and said, because I think you quote retweeted the same tweet that I quote retweeted. We said two different things, but yours was a lot more like relatable in my kind of sense. You said, as someone who works a 9 to 5 and streams 5 to 9 consistently, parts of me have diminished that I'll never get back, but I bust my ass to make it work because I truly am passionate about content. I just unfortunately can't live off of it yet. I gotta keep the grind going, which is so true. I mean, I didn't know you was a software engineer though. Fair play.
Thanks. Yeah, it's, you know, it's really not as hard as people think that it is, but you know, it's fun. I've tried applying it into like some of my content stuff, but it's just a lot of work, and I already, you know, code half of my day, so I just, sometimes my brain doesn't want to keep coding just for like a video or something. But you know, it is fun. If I ever were to take content full time, I would probably, you know, apply some of my coding into it because it is really fun. I do enjoy it.
But why did you decide to go up that? Like, you said you studied it in uni, then you took it full time. Why was that like a path you decided to choose?
Actually, fun fact, I wanted to become like a game developer back when I was literally a child because of Minecraft. Like, I remember getting Minecraft and I was like 11 or 12 years old, and I was so fascinated by the game. I really loved Legos at the time, so I was just like, you know, big nerd about that. And when I started playing Minecraft, I somehow fell into like, you know, the Minecraft forums, and people would post like their mods and like texture packs and stuff. Yeah. And I thought it was so sick. I was literally 11, maybe 12 years old, coding Minecraft mods. And that's when I was like, coding is sick. Like, I want to do this forever. And literally since then, all of my high school and university, you know, classes that I wanted to take were basically a branch of coding. So software engineering or game developing, whatever. But it's funny how it all comes full circle, because I wanted to code because of Minecraft, and now I do code and still play Minecraft.
You get to do both. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's things have just gone full circle, right? Minecraft inspired you then, it's still, I guess, give or take, inspiring you now, right? In a sense of content creation, more so.
Really makes you realize that I am old. Whew, I am old.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm old. I'm old.
Wait, I don't know why this has become such a common question on the podcast. I never used to ask it, but now, like, I guess it's because I'm interviewing like older people. Like, I know I'm interviewing people who are like, I mean, not older than me, but within my like age range. But there's certain guests I know not to ask their age because I just don't really want to, in that sense.
I'm ancient. Like, if you look at the year, you see the year.
It's 2024. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the number right there.
Oh, you're 24. You were born in 2000.
No, 99.
Oh, so you're turning. Oh, so you're my brother's age then, because he was born in 1999 as well.
There you go. Fun fact: my birthday is 9/9/1999, so I got a cool birthday.
9/9. Oh, that's sick. My my brother was, I think he was called like a millennium baby or something, where like he was nearly born on like the 1st of January 2000. He missed it like a few days.
Tough luck, buddy.
Yeah, apparently they were like in newspapers and stuff. Like, kids born that day were on like newspaper in England, but he obviously didn't get onto it. But he wasn't one of those children's.
Yikes.
It's alright.
Just for a couple days, huh?
Just for a couple days of fame, fresh off birth, you would have thought, eh? What kind of like keeping on this topic here, how does it feel doing like, because I do it as well, I work so I used to work like 10-hour shifts in a warehouse and then doing content at the same time, which was 6 a.m. in the morning until 4 p.m. That was certainly tough. But I also didn't have a partner at the time. It wasn't so bad. And then I got a night shift job and a partner, and then I stopped content creation as a whole because it was like I was working at 12 till 10 p.m. and that was just tough to do content with.
Yeah.
Was in and out of work for the majority of 2023 up until like near the end, where I kind of settled down in the job. And the shift patterns are a bit weird. Like, the earliest I'll start is 7:30 a.m. and the latest I can finish is 5:30 p.m. which the 5:30 finishes kind of suck because I record at 7 p.m. my time, like around about this time every single time I record a podcast. So when I finish at 5:30, I have to get home, scuff down my dinner, get changed, set up recording, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it kind of doesn't really give me me much time to do anything else. I mean, I record 2 podcasts a week. I edit them all myself. It's really like tough kind of keeping it going. And for that, I've kind of had to cut out streaming if I wanted it to be a continuous thing. Whereas you've kind of taken on streaming more so as like I'm going to call it a second hobby for the sake of it, right? Because, you know, you have your steady income and then you have your hobby income, right? So
yeah.
How does that feel, kind of like the constant managing of work, stream, time with your partner, weekend, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's very hard. I mean, you mentioned it earlier when you read out my tweet, how it's like diminished parts of me. And it's very true, because I have been in content pretty much since I was legally allowed to be on the internet as a child. And like, it's always been in my blood to make sure that, I at least need to upload 1 video a week. And then, you know, eventually, you know, there were phases where I kind of fell off, and not like numbers wise, but like I fell off from being online and didn't actually post anything. But yeah, I mean, I just applied so much brain power into this. There was a period of time, especially when I was in university, I was a full-time student, I had a job, and I was streaming about 3 or 4 days a week, and I was uploading videos weekly on YouTube. And like, obviously the sacrifice has to be, I have no social life. And it's very sad, because when I think back on like my university years, like, you know, everyone thinks back on university and they're like, oh, all the friends and the parties I went to, it was awesome. And it's like, I could name one person, like literally one singular person I spoke to through the entirety of my university experience, and that's it. Like, did I meet other people? Sure. But did I hang out with them? No, because I just didn't have time to leave my room. And I mean, nowadays it's equally as hard. I just moved, and I've just moved, not just, you know, out from where I used to live, but like moved in with my girlfriend. So it's like, now I went from living alone to living with a whole other human, and I have to manage, you know, YouTube, Twitch, my job, my cat, whatever. And now I need to think about a whole other human in the equation. And it's like, it's made not things really hard, but just like scheduling things just really, really difficult, because I need to make sure that I satisfy another human as well. So it's definitely a big struggle. You can usually see it like, oh, Jojo, you uploaded like weekly for 2 months and then you completely stopped. Why did that happen? Well, I just didn't have time. I can sometimes sit down and like lock in, but the entirety of last month I was moving, so I just didn't have time to record, edit, or anything. I didn't even have time to stream. I think I streamed like 6 times last month, and it felt awful. But yeah, little parts of me have diminished, and I have definitely sacrificed a lot of social life. But I'm like in a point of my life right now where, you know how people say like you fully develop your brain when you're like 24, 25?
Yeah.
I think I've reached that point. I think my brain, like just a week ago, finally locked in and was like, dude, you gotta get your life together. Like, you need to go like touch grass, feel the sun, like do something. So I've been trying to like lock in and like, you know, manage my schedule a little bit better. But yeah, it's just so much to think about that I feel like people don't really realize, you know, all the different layers to it. And now, finally, after 13 years of, you know, playing Minecraft and wanting to do so many things, I think I'm finally like locking in on what it is that I really want to do.
What's that?
I really do want to make YouTube work. So I need to, I've sort of made like an outline of a schedule that I want to follow on a weekly basis. But I also want to be a healthy human, because now that I'm like old, I can feel my body falling apart just from sitting around all day and, you know, having a terrible posture. It's definitely starting to, you know, show up in my bones and my body. So I want to lock in on health, and I want to lock in on YouTube. Those are the 2 main factors right now.
Because that's what they say about growing a Twitch channel, right? They say grow on YouTube and then transition over to Twitch. That's what I've always kind of known it as anyways. Yeah,
it's true. Because like my Twitch grew because it was just a really fortunate time with Among Us happening and all of that. But now, and of course the pandemic, but like now that is done for, and like people are going outside again. So even though I had really, really great numbers 3-4 years ago, nowadays it's not looking as good. So I feel like I need to shift back and be more of a YouTuber and find an audience there to then bring it to my Twitch.
Yeah, kind of linking back to when you said about the whole developing brain and stuff. I met up with AJX over the weekend. We went to Insomnia in Birmingham together. It was pretty cool, and we were making a joke about like stuff and about I was talking about the podcast. I said like, oh, like I'm always interviewing people. He's like, well, you talk about yourself a lot. I said, yeah, because it's my podcast, right? So I'm gonna do it again. So I'm gonna make a joke of talking about myself again on the podcast. But I feel like I'm an outlier. I'm kind of bigging myself up here in a sense. But I feel like I've kind of gotten to that stage of already developing my brain. I've kind of got in mind what I want, and I've kind of set a certain balance of it's tough and it's tiring and it's really thing. But I have like this ideology, I guess. So I don't sleep much. I sleep depending on the day. I mean, this week I'll get more sleep because I'm not working, so I've got holiday. But I normally sleep about 5 hours a day on average, which isn't really that healthy. But I run a lot better on 5 hours sleep than I do on about 8. And what I've said to people when they're like, get more sleep or look after yourself more, I'm like, I will get more sleep when content creation is a full-time thing, right? Lose sleep now so I can get more sleep later. But if I keep getting all the sleep in the world I want now, it's going to take me so much longer to get to where I want to be, right?
Yeah.
But, so it's like I'm taking my sacrifices now, which sucks for the next year or so, depending on how long it takes. And then in 2 years down the line, hopefully less, I can sleep in more. I can, take more time on the podcast. I can enjoy myself more. And it's nice because I have a partner who appreciates that as well. And she's really like supportive of it, which is great. Your girlfriend is Mitsufai, right?
Yes.
Last time I mentioned them on the podcast, I was actually calling them out, which I feel kind of bad about. This time I will say a compliment of hello. That's your compliment. I don't really know where I'm coming from with this. They're probably listening to this because it's your podcast. Props to you for listening. That you get a compliment this time. I'm not calling you out. Sorry for calling you out last time. I didn't actually think you'd hear it.
She told me about it and she was like, I wonder if he's gonna know this time around. So I'm excited for the Twitter questions because she's in there.
I mean, I can ask her one now if you want.
Sure. I don't know what her question is.
Who is your best friend and why is it me?
Oh, well, it's Marissa. Why? Oh, there's it's a long list. I mean, if you want, I can send you the list, but it'll take a while to send because it's a long one. But
mid-recording, actually, so probably best you don't do that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, here I'll just let's just say, I'll name a few. You're funny, you're awesome, you're really nice, and you're really awesome to be with. All right, we'll leave it at that.
There you go. There's your compliments. Not from me, but you get on you're on the podcast now, so. Also, what do you mean no this time round? No this time round about what?
Wait, when did I say that? I already forgot.
But okay, it doesn't matter actually. I mean, it was just you speaking kind of thing. I said something about like them commenting and you was like, oh, they told you about it. And I was like, I wonder if they'll know this time round.
Oh. Oh, like if you knew that, like who she was.
Oh, I knew who she was the entire time. I was just double checking on the podcast because I wasn't actually I wasn't 100% sure kind of thing. Does that make sense? Like, there's like, I think 95%, but I was like, you can never be 100% sure until you're told by the person themselves.
Yeah, so. Of course. That's funny. Okay.
But yeah, Job is hard to work with, and it's nice because you have them as like supporting you as well. Like you moved in together, and I know you want to spend time with them and stuff, but it's good because they understand what you do. You went to the community show together as well, didn't you? So
yeah, we did. Yeah. No, she understands like everything. Like she used to do content as well. She doesn't do much now, but like she has been in the Minecraft community for a very long time, and like she even works for like YouTubers, so she really understands the scene and like kind of understands what I go through. So the support is there. It's more of a mental struggle. It's not like an issue with her or like even like with us living together. That's not an issue. It's just me not knowing how to schedule my life. That's my problem.
Yeah. I get you. I was just adding it as a thing of like, I feel like a lot of creators in the scene sometimes have like, well, I mean, not saying they're who they're with now, and I'm not speaking on anyone's behalf here. There's just such a strong possibility that a lot of people do have creative partners who aren't so supportive, aren't so understanding of it until you have someone who has kind of been there or seen it firsthand. For instance, my partner, like, she's not really in this community per se, but she has Crackity merch, she has Technoblade merch, she has all of that, so she knows who people are kind of thing. Like when you got announced, she knew who you was. Socials, who a lot of the guests was. So she's very understanding of how much the podcast is growing in that kind of sense. And then that's what you have as well. You have Marissa, yeah? I can't say Mitzvah. Yeah, sorry. Marissa. Yes. You have her kind of on your side understanding that as well. And like, it's just nice. Even if you don't have everything together, if you don't have the full on mental satisfaction, at least you still have somebody in your corner.
Oh yeah, so, absolutely.
Kind of moving, and unless you had more to say about the 9 to 5 thing, I feel like that was a pretty good conversation there. I feel satisfied from that.
Yeah, that was pretty good, I'd say.
Moving more into like you as like a content creator fully here. So I have somebody who helps me do research. I have some of my own, but this is from them. So if this is wrong, we blame Vera.
Okay.
You were originally known as Beat Solos up until September 2020, when you then rebranded to Jojosolos. Is that right?
That is correct.
Why? Why the original name? Why the rebrand?
Yeah. Okay. So back in, in 2011, when I was 11 or 12, who knows what age I was at that point, when I first got Minecraft, I was like begging my parents to get it for me for so long. I finally get it, and they ask, put a username. And I was like, oh shoot, I don't know, because I really wasn't much of a gamer. I mean, sure, I hopped on Pop Tropica and Club Penguin, but I didn't really have like a username. And I just looked around the house, and for Christmas, I had gotten these pair of headphones called the Beat Solos by Dr. Dre. so I was like,
oh no, oh my god.
I know. And then I was like, you know what? My name could be Beat Solos. That's sick. I'll be these headphones. And then I grew up, and then I was like, Beat Solos is like stupid. Like, it's literally a brand. Like, I could get sued. Like, if I actually made it relatively big on any platform, I'm sure someone's gonna come out here and be like, dude, you can't be doing this. And then it wasn't until Among Us that, really kind of started bringing more attention to my streams when I decided it was time to rebrand. And funny enough, it wasn't even for like a suing thing or like a concern. It was literally like, it was more of like a networking type of thing, because at the time, well, since I've just had friends since day zero on the internet, they've always called me Jojo, because my real name is Joanna. And Joanna is really hard to spell for some people. And if you see the actual spelling of it, you pronounce it wrong. So everyone just calls me Jojo because it's the easiest, nickname. And during Among Us days, my little bean in Among Us was named Jojo. So you can imagine if you're watching a Twitch stream of, whoever was playing Among Us at the time, and you see, oh, this Jojo chick is funny, and you search up Jojo, Beat Solos is not going to come up. So then I was like, okay, I need to rebrand so Jojo's in my name, because everyone calls me Jojo. But I don't want to lose like my core audience and like what people currently know me as. So I kept the solos, and then I removed the beat. And I actually put it off for a long time, until one day one of my friends just tweeted out Jojosolos, and I started freaking out because I didn't want anyone to steal the name. So instantly I changed everything. So yeah, that's where the solos comes from, by the way. It's not because I'm like confident at all in like my individual ability in playing like any game.
Big up that friend for tweeting out Jojosolos, because having they revolutionized your history, right? Or your future.
It's true.
In that moment in time. I think Jojosolos is a much better name.
No, I agree. Beat Solos is just a dumb, stupid name that I kept for so long, and because I didn't know how to make usernames as a child.
It also just flows better. Jojo Solo. There's Beat Solo. Like, come on.
Every other letter is an O.
Exactly. Well, nearly. I mean, if you added, your name is Jojosolos, so it should be Jojosoloso.
True.
Technically.
Thank you though. I'll keep Jojosolos. I'll keep it as it is.
Yeah, I think Jojosoloso isn't like good. I like Jojosolos. It's a lot better.
Thank you.
What about the Minecraft skin then? Love the hat, by the way. Must say, amazing hat.
Oh, thank you. My Minecraft skin, I'm honestly not really attached to any Minecraft skins. I used to have like this Minecraft skin that had like a little penguin hat. Because when I was in middle school, I always wore this penguin hat and like never took it off. And then one day I started YouTube and I changed to an iron golem. I don't know what prompted that. And then I changed my skin to like an anime skin, and I was addicted to anime at that point in my life. So yeah. And then one of my friends, if anyone remembers Blue Computers, from the good old days, we were filming a video for like, I don't know, some Hypixel thing as we used to do. And he made us a skin where we matched, but I was, in the this like red onesie, and then he was in his blue onesie, and then it was just adorable. I liked it, so I kept the onesie. It's like red, kind of pinkish, and then I've just kind of been swapping out the hats. I have like, because I love bucket hats in real life. I wear bucket hats all the time. So I had a frog hat. I've had my pride hat. I've had my merch bucket hat. I just kind of swap out the hat here and there.
And the pink onesie's always sticking around.
Yeah, it's gotta at this point. I feel like that's part of me now.
That's the branding, right?
Yeah.
So you recognize Jojosolos.
It's true. I hope so. I hope that's recognizable.
Have you ever thought about adding like, you know, like the frog that you have on the hat, or like the merch and stuff? Have you ever thought about adding that as like a logo on your skin also, or is it just for the hat? Is like that lore?
Yeah, I just like swapping out the hat. I'll do a little frog hat. I'll do whatever types of hats, but yeah, I'm mostly I gotta keep the onesie at this point.
Yeah. Kind of going back to what you were saying, kind of linking back into 2020 when you changed your name. So when you said like you kind of got a lot more like popular for Among Us and stuff, was that a case of like, how did that happen? Did you already have the friends at the time before Among Us? Because I know you also you did a collab with Zeph Plays on SMP Live. I don't know what came first. Was that the SMP Live or was that after Among Us?
So the Among Us bit, the reason that I kind of started growing from that, at least this is what I think is what started helping me grow. Well, actually, here, hold on. Let me take a step back, because you asked about how I even knew these people.
Yeah. Like how do you get into that moment? There we go. We'll say that.
Yeah. Well, Among Us really brought a lot of people together. Like, I already knew a lot of different groups of Minecrafters, and I've always known them for a long time. Like, for example, I played some Among Us with LD Shadow Lady, but I've known Lizzie since like 2016 or something like that, 2015. So it's like, you know, I played some Among Us there, and then I met Scott's Major, and then I met Jack Jivik, and, you know, like a lot of these different people. And then there was also a big Discord server where I met Fundy, for example, and I met a lot of other people, but I was in there because I already knew a lot of other people as well. And it was just a place to sort of network, but I didn't really take it as networking. I took it more as like, I just want to play games with my friends. And then, you know, kind of fast forwarding a little bit to what the moment that I think that really helped me grow was I was playing Among Us. I honestly don't remember the full lobby, but the core person that was in that lobby was Carl Jacobs. And I remember I was the imposter, and I killed Carl Jacobs in the video game, and he didn't realize he was unmuted whenever we were doing like you know, the emergency meeting, and he was like, I don't know how they don't know it's JoJo. And like everyone heard that. So you know, and that was pretty much at the end of like, you know, the entire lobby that we were playing. It was like at the end of the 3 hours. So once that game ended, he gifted me like 20 subs, and then he rated me with like, you know, how many ever viewers he had at the time, like upwards of 10,000 viewers. And yeah, like from then on, I averaged over 100 viewers, and there was a period of time where I was averaging over 250. And I really, like, it could have been other things. It very well could have been other things, but that is what my brain like immediately connects to what really started giving me a boost. And I really think it was that. So yeah, I mean, one time I met Carl Jacobs at TwitchCon Amsterdam, and I told him, I was like, dude, like, you don't even know what you did. And he was like, oh. But yeah, I think obviously there were a lot of other communities that joined as well, but I think that's kind of what boosted me at the time.
That's the same with me though. Like, you know, you can't really pinpoint it down to one thing. I guess you can, 'cause you've done it there, but I also have my like moment of a person. Like, I always tell people whenever like I'm talking about the podcast, that they go, where do you think it all changed? My one is having Fulham come on. Ever since then, I've just seen like consistent growth. So like how you had your moment where like it could have been other things, but you pin it down to Carl Jacobs because that's what you remember. I pin mine down to having Fulham on podcast because that's how I feel like I'm in this moment right now. Not, you know, specifically I had Fulham on, that's why you've come on, but it's like a chain of things, right, to get to this stage.
Of course.
So that's my way of like pinning it down.
Yeah, of course, I get that.
So with the Among Us stuff then, like how well did you transition? Because were you doing like Among Us full time? Was it linked into Minecraft? Or you like, were you a variety streamer, or was it every single time you went live you were playing Among Us?
It was definitely like Among Us for a solid 3 or 4 months. I would occasionally open Minecraft, of course, because I was addicted and I still am, but it's just one of those things. Like, I've been playing Minecraft for so long, you don't really forget about it. But yeah, it was mostly Among Us for a good like 3 or 4 months until I realized that Among Us made me hate my life. And like it was just painful because like at the time modded Among Us wasn't huge, and so vanilla Among Us was very boring. It was just the same thing over and over again. Eventually modded Among Us came out, and that was like really fun for a month, and then it was just depressing because I realized that the only time I really interacted with my friends was to lie to them, and the angle that I had every time that I played Among Us, whether I was an imposter or not, I would act extremely suspicious. I would be a jester no matter what. But some people, in no disrespect to them, like it's totally chill, but like some people in those lobbies care about winning or losing Among Us. Meanwhile, I didn't. I just did not care. I just wanted to have fun. And I could tell that people were getting annoyed by the way that I was playing. But that was the only way that I was having fun playing that game at that point, because it was just so repetitive and it was always the same thing. So eventually I just completely stopped playing, and the transition from that definitely had a big drop in numbers. In fact, I think that if I still played Among Us today, I'd probably have like 3 times the viewership I do. But I just genuinely, I don't want to lose my brain cells on that anymore, because I just like to have fun with it. And some people like to sweat it, which, you know, it's totally chill. Like if that's your angle on playing the game, if your angle is to have like Omega 5 brain, scenarios, then go for it. But it just didn't match well with the way that I played the game.
Why do you think the transition was so rough? You understand they could be completely different games, but I don't know, like, why do you think so many people wanted you to play Among Us more than wanted to watch you play Minecraft?
I think genuinely, like, the reason I say it was rough is because I saw a number drop. It's not like people were begging for me to play Among Us. And the only reason that I say that I could probably be like a larger streamer now if I had never stopped playing is because I have friends in those friend groups, which obviously I'm not going to name them, but they have told me how much they hate the game, but how well it performs for them. Because every time they stream anything that's not Among Us, their streams underperform. And then every time they stream Among Us, it's just like awesome stream, like perfect times. And good on them for doing what they got to do to make their income and live life. But I didn't want to continue losing brain cells playing that game, because like, not to say that playing the game makes you lose brain cells. Let me just clarify, like, game is fun, but at that point in my life, I was literally playing it for 6 hours a day for day after day after day. So it became very, very stale.
That's the tough part, right? If you have something that's doing so well, it's hard to let it go. For instance, like, I always say this on every single podcast, I repeat myself so much. I used to do command block tutorials. It was what I started content with. They were doing so well for views, for money, everything. And one day I turned around and literally just in a moment said, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just stopped. I didn't care. Like, I talked about this with Kaman. I cared more about community than I did about the income. And I guess that's like what you did there, is you cared more about your sanity than what was doing well, right? And it's tough to turn around and say, oh, like, I don't want to do this anymore. But Among Us is a cool game. It's just, I don't know. I don't think I could. I never really have played it with friends. I guess like I played it a little bit recently this year with a few people, but it was never something I really got into because I never had the friend group who were playing Among Us. But even with Minecraft, for example, like right now I don't even really want to stream because I'm just not enjoying playing Minecraft. That's why I commentate more, and which we'll talk about with you because you do commentary also. But that's why I kind of focus on that area more than playing right now, because I'm just not enjoying it, which is the issue. And it sucks because I want to enjoy it, but I don't.
No, I get that. Like, I like what you said about community as well, because I'm also reaching a point of Minecraft right now where it gets really stale. Obviously, Minecraft is a lot more complex when it comes to it. Like, sure, you can play Hypixel and play minigames, or you can play survival, or you can play creative. Like, there's a lot of different angles to it where you can have fun. I agree, it's getting a little stale right now, but I very much agree with what you said about community, because, for me, I feel like even though I could be having triple or quadruple the amount of viewers playing Among Us, I don't think any of those people really cared about who I was as like a streamer or as like a human. I think the people who stuck around after, the Among Us phase, I think those are the people who like genuinely care to like hang out with me, and, they're part of the community, they're part of my Discord, and we all chat all the time. So it's like, that's what I like to build up a lot more than than just, you know, playing a game because it's what people like to watch.
And yeah, and I love that so much more. It's like, especially because, and I've said this as well, like, and linking back to earlier, I guess it's not easier to do because it's still really tough balancing the both, but it's easier to kind of focus a bit more on community than it is income when you have a steady income from a full-time job. Like, I don't worry too much about, I'd love to be earning more, of course, and I'd love to be doing this full-time, but I'm not panicking, worrying about what's doing the best, how to capitalize loads, because I have a full-time job. I'm not gonna, as far as I'm aware, I'm not going to lose my full-time job. It's stable, it's a good income, it's paying for holidays, etc. And then I have this on the side, and like, that's why I'm able to focus more and appreciate community more than worrying about that, in a sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you agree, or if I'm speaking for myself here, but that's just my view.
No, yeah, I get that. I agree.
Then after the Among Us stage, you went more into full-time Minecraft. You talked about how you can do Hypixel, survival, that kind of stuff. You joined SMPs. I mentioned this earlier. You did a collab with Zeph Blaze on SMP Live. You was also a part of SMP Earth. What was that like? Was that the first thing you did when you switched to Minecraft, or was it mini games that you started with?
Like after Among Us, you mean?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
After Among Us, I actually did a lot more variety. I think I was obviously playing, you know, Minecraft SMPs and doing that, but like after Among Us, I was also just playing a lot of random games. Like there was my, you know, like Mario Kart or like Little Nightmares, which I love that game. And it's just like I just played a bunch of random like little, you know, popular, I would say, games, but not something that was like particularly booming at the time, like how Among Us was. And yeah, no, I mean, I've just known a lot of people for a long time. So when it comes to collabs, like I honestly, I don't even know what collab you're talking about. I'm just gonna be honest, because I'm just like I just know, like I have known so many people for a very long time. Like if I have done any sort of collabs, it's because I have known those people for longer than like 2 years, I would say. And yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously an honor to get to chat and collab with a lot of different friends. But honestly, after Among Us, I just did everything I could to stay adjacent to, like, you know, some of the friend groups that I was talking with while I was playing Among Us. But I was also just playing a lot of other variety games and just trying to enjoy it, just trying to play some Jackbox and have a good time, and, you know, anything that would include like those friend groups, because I know a lot of the viewers really like those people as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, a big one, at least in my eyes, and it's where I first got introduced to you, was MCC Rising.
Yeah.
You got into MCC Rising. You won it. You were the original Lime Llamas to win MCC Rising, which is really funny because I believe it was you and Cyan who made it to the finals. With
we were Pink Parrots.
Sorry?
We were the Pink Parrots.
Were you a pink?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
we were the Pink Parrots.
It was, but Cyan, right? You was against Cyan.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's okay. So my thing was because Cyan also made it to the finals in MCC Rising 2 and lost it. That's what I was going.
Yeah.
So not the Lime Llamas part. Sorry. It's because Lime Llamas were who won MCC Rising 2 against Cyan. Pink Parrots was who won MCC Rising 1 against Cyan. Sorry, that's the point I was getting at there. And what was that experience like? I remember watching back clips. You got some pretty cool clips, and then you turned that into being in the main thing, which is kind of crazy. What was that whole experience like?
Oh, it was so epic. I mean, like, for a very long time, I had known of MCC and wanted to partake in it, and I knew that I was somewhat close to being in, but not really, because back when MCC was super new, Mara Corvus actually DM'd me the sign-up sheet. She wasn't supposed to do that. She wasn't allowed to do that. So Scott messaged me saying like, hey, just wondering like who sent you this, and like, you know, whatever.
Oh no.
And then you know, Cara got a little bit in trouble for that, but this was like literally MCC 2. Like, this was a super long time ago. So obviously, you know, she didn't know, I didn't know, and then from then on, I just knew that I was, you know, being somewhat considered by Scott, but at this point, I didn't really know Scott that well. I knew he was the organizer, and then at some point we had played Among Us, so we became friends, but I never really pushed him to like add me or anything. Like I just would I send him the occasional DM saying like, hey, like, how can I make it in? Sure. But, you know, it's not like I was begging him on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, when we saw that they were doing an MCC Rising, I remember kind of just wanting to bring a team together, but I didn't know who to team with. And I think it was Blushy who messaged me, and she was like, hey, we're trying to form a team. We have someone, but they have to drop out. Do you want to join? And I was like, hell yeah, put me in, coach. Put me in. And like, to be fair, our team was extremely like busted. Like we should not have been allowed. We should not have been allowed in there. But it was Blushy, Ex Nestorio, Speed Silver, and myself. And like genuinely at that point, I had watched 0 MCCs because it was more it was like a jealousy factor. I was like, I'm not gonna watch any because I'm not in it. Like I don't care. So I had never watched an MCC. Of course, as soon as our team got accepted, which I actually remember that moment so vividly, I like started studying up and being like, all right, time to watch MCCs from the past and figure it out. And yeah, I mean, what was the next question? Like, how did I get in after that, or what was it?
Well, I guess we'll go down a little chain here, but I can ask questions as we go rather than kind of piling them all into one. So the first one was I want to say this: your application was very, very good. So don't take this out of context. I'm saying it. I'm making it out to be more worse than the question is going to be. But just in case, don't take this the wrong way. When you got accepted into MCC Rising, were you shocked, or after your application, did you sit back and be like, yeah, we stand a really good chance?
Well, we submitted it literally like 10 minutes before they closed the submissions because everyone on our team they're all very busy people. And at the time I was doing an internship at the place that I work at now. And I was just working like all the time. I couldn't stay up that late. And Ex Nestorio, he's like full-time YouTuber. Like we just could not find a good time. Scott, Speed Silver, he lives in the UK. So like the time zone was just always off as well. Yeah. So the fact that we even got a video up was honestly a miracle. So I was very shocked because, I mean, to be fair, like we did make the video, we filmed it all and whatever, but Scott, Speed Silver is Scott, by the way. So don't get them confused.
I know, I've had Speed Silver on the podcast.
Okay, there you go. So he actually sent it out to an editor, but I think the editor didn't like have it back in time. So Scott stayed up all night, like finishing it and like trying to get it submitted. Yeah. So I didn't even know what the video looked like until it was already submitted. I knew like bits and pieces because he would send us like clips. He was like, do you guys think this is good? But yeah, it was really scary. I had 0 expectations. I was like, I hope we get in. But I also looked at our team and I was like, our team is busted. Like if we get in, it's a miracle.
Really were team last minute, huh?
We really were.
What about the MCC Rising experience in itself then? What was that like?
When I tell you that like I have never had as much fun playing Minecraft until I played MCC, like that is not a joke. It is insane how the mini games that they've created feel so different to just playing like on a server or like whatever. Like it's genuinely so much fun. Obviously, we weren't going up against like regular roster players, so it also felt extra nice to be really good at the game, like against everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, like genuinely, when I think about the most fun I've ever had playing Minecraft, a lot of the highlights are MCC.
I mean, like MCC Rising specifically. And I know, obviously, when you say MCC, you mean MCC Rising, but just I know you said your team was busted, but you guys, I believe you finished second overall. I can't actually remember what the score difference was. Did you just about finish second, or were you like confidently making the final? Do you remember?
I think we confidently made it because I remember the final game being Hole in the Wall, and we were like, this is a weird ending, but we were like, as long as we all don't like instantly die, like we're in. The only reason Sign was so far ahead of us is because the survival games, like the points, yeah, they were super busted. Like they were, it was like they were, I mean, obviously they were better than us, so they deserved like all the points, but like the balancing of the points was also a little out of whack. But yeah, no, it was I think we were pretty much confirmed second.
And then when you got to dodgeball, how confident were you there?
I was shaking so much. No. I'm like one of the shakiest people I know. In fact, not that you should do this or anyone listening, but if you ever want to see how genuinely like shaky I get, I believe it was MCC 25. I had a hand cam. So if you want to see how shaky I truly get, there's that. Also MCC 22 during Hole in the Wall, I put my hands up to the camera. You can see how shaky they get there too. It's bad. Like I get really shaky. So going into dodgebolts, like I was literally pissing my pants. Like I didn't know what to do. But X Nestorio was on my team, and if you know, the listeners don't know who X Nestorio is, like back in the good old days of Minecraft UHC, which is the equivalent of like Minecraft Battle Royale, he was like the shot him guy. So I know he's good at the bow. I know that if he's gonna be good at anything, it's the bow. So I was like, you know what, Nestor's got this. Like, I'm just gonna chill back over here, do the best I can, of course, but Nestor's got this in the bag.
That taking though, is that full nerves or is it part nerves, part excitement in the moment?
I think it's nerves, because I'm a very nervous person. Completely, like, just side note, like back when I used to go to school, because now I'm old and I don't go to school anymore, literally every first day of school, so like the beginning of a new semester, I wouldn't be able to eat breakfast because I would want to vomit. So I just get like really nervous for random things. MCC is one of those things, which is why recently, well, obviously MCC's been on a break, but more recently I have just been trying not to think about MCC and just show up like day of and hope for the best.
You're the exact same as me, by the way. So I was like a really confident, outgoing guy in like primary school, which for us is up until about the age of 12, 13, give or take. And then as soon as I started secondary school, which is between the ages of either 12 or 13 up until about 16, I don't know what happened. I just became the most anxious guy. I'd be like, not physically, or sometimes physically, but not mostly. I'd be like sick every morning, coughing. There was this one Disney Channel ad. Like, we thought of so many different ways to kind of calm my nerves in the morning, and one of them was watching TV, but there was this one Disney Channel ad, and there's like an ad about an egg, and every time it came up on the TV, it'd make me like be sick on the spot. I don't know why, right? It was a harmless ad. I could watch it completely now, but at that time, it was kind of like I was bringing it upon myself at one point, when like I was finding triggers on purpose. But I got really anxious and really nervous. I even had like a mentor to help me, and he was really useless looking back on it. He always smelled really bad, like with coffee, and I don't like coffee. That didn't help me in any way whatsoever.
I don't like coffee either.
It's more ironic because I'm a barista.
Wait, so. I was a barista too.
Oh my god. See? This is mental.
That was my first job. I didn't like coffee, but I was a barista.
My first job was a warehouse, and then ever since I've been a barista. So,
let's go.
It's alright. I'm good at it as well. I can do like latte art and stuff, which is very cool. But
let's go.
Like, every single morning, so I stopped eating breakfast. Sometimes I'd like take these like 2 Cocoa Pop chocolate brownies with me to school. But ever since, I've trained my body to not eat breakfast now. So even where I work, I don't eat anything up until I have my lunch, which is either 11:30 or 2 p.m. Or what it is I can't eat breakfast at home. I can eat breakfast when I'm at work. I can eat breakfast when I used to go to school or college. But I'm physically in the building, I'm able to eat. But until I get there, I can't eat anything. Otherwise, my stomach will just start hurting. It's so weird, because as soon as I enter the building, I can eat to my heart's content and be fine. But on the build up there, while at home, can't do it. It's so weird. So I haven't really heard anyone who's the same as me, which is quite cool. But I deal with it now. Like, I've never been diagnosed with anxiety, but I think it's pretty obvious that I do have it, which is really weird to say nowadays, because I'm very outgoing. Like, my entire trip up to Birmingham, and on the way home, I just made friends on the train and was talking away to them like it was nothing. I used to get really like coffee and go on.
I was just gonna say, like, similar to that, I have always been like very outgoing within my friend groups, like IRL. I don't know about online. I feel like I'm a little bit more quiet online, but IRL, like, I'm usually like the goofy person doing, the goofy things, whatever. But then I went to one therapist session, and I was diagnosed with social anxiety, which is very weird. So I'm socially anxious, yet I'm also the goofy one. So I don't know. It's weird. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, I just never wanted to get diagnosed with it. But do you know what I do? And it might not work for you. For some bizarre reason, it works for me. I chew on Mentos. Really weird. I carry a pack of Mentos with me everywhere, and whenever I feel myself getting a little bit thingy, or sometimes I feel like this clog in my throat, and that'll be like part nerves. Every time I get that, I just start chewing on Mentos, like maybe 1 or 2, and it just helps. I think it's once that's like tricking my brain into finding a cure. I've tricked my brain into associating chewing on Mentos with making me feel fine. Crazy. Really weird how the brain works. But so I went on a massive tangent about myself there. My bad.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
It's just I just never really talked to anyone, or like even off the podcast, I haven't talked to anyone who's able to relate in that sense. It's actually really interesting to hear, because you do so much. Like, you do kind of like, talking about what I brought up earlier, you do commentary, you play in tournaments. Like, I guess I actually, before we go into commentary, because I do have a bit more about MCC, I don't want to jump all over the place. A few people from MCC Rising, at least the first one anyways, did end up transitioning into the first MCC, and you were one of those. Blatantly asking the question here, quite bluntly asking the question because I don't know how else to word it. Why you? Like, you know, not in a rude way. Sorry, I just don't know how else to word that. So
no, I get it. I think at this point I was already pretty good friends with Scott. Scott Smager to be exact, not Scott Speed Silver, different Scotts. I mean, I was friends with him too. Anyway, so I think I was close enough with Scott at this point. Like, we had talked a couple more times and we knew each other a little bit better at that point. And then also after MCC Rising, MCC did another non-canon of MCC All-Stars, where they only invited people who have won an MCC. And because there weren't 40 players, I mean, technically there were 40 players who have won an MCC, but because some of them couldn't make it, they had to start inviting people who either weren't on the main roster anymore at that point, or someone like Leshy and I who were in MCC Rising. And I don't know why they selected us versus Ex Nestorio and Speed Silver. I don't know if maybe they did ask them and then they just said no. But at least for All Stars, it was, you know, there was only 4 of us who won, so we were the only options. So that mixed in with also not only being really good friends with Scott at this time. I don't know about really good friends, but we were friends at this point. I'm also really good friends with a lot of people in the event. At that time, like, obviously I had known Kara for a long time, but I mean, you could name like 80% of the, you know, MCC players, and I could tell you like whether I've talked to them before or not. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging either, like, oh yeah, I know all these people,
no,
but
yeah,
like,
it just made sense. It made sense for you to be there.
Well, I just already knew a lot of people. Just, you know, the Minecraft community, as big as it is, it's also really small. Like, there are so many circles that know each other that a lot of viewers don't really know. Yeah. But like, obviously they don't really collab because maybe their types of content is different. But there's so many different groups of Minecrafters that are really good friends with each other. And I've just been lucky enough that I've, you know, just known a lot of people for a very long time. So I think Scott kind of understood that vibe that I had with a lot of people. Obviously I also had that vibe with him. You know, we were already becoming friends. So I think eventually he thought it would be a good idea to add me. And I think it was a great idea, Scott. You're so smart and wonderful. And I mean, I'm sure you already know this, but you're awesome, Scott. And, if you ever want to get into MCC, that's what you got to do. All right. Say you love Scott.
Just big up Scott. There you go. That's it. You just clip me saying that specifically. Big up Scott. And then there you go. I get into the next MCC. No way.
Let's go.
I'm about to fact check myself before I make a statement because I don't want to come off as wrong. So let me make sure I'm right here. Oh,
sure.
You need to stop being weird, Google please. Oh yeah. Okay, you've won. So you've got a 2-to-2 ratio in the main MCC. You've won 2 and you've lost 2.
Don't remind me.
You three times out of the 4 times that you've made it to Dodgeball, you've placed first individual, and 2 of the times you placed first individual, you lost in Dodgeball. Sorry.
Damn.
And then the other time you placed 5th, you won it, which was actually the full. That was a full Spanish speaking team, right? You, Shadun, Ori, and Captain Gato. Yeah, you placed 5th individual and you won, which was kind of crazy because I believe you what was it? Yeah, you won with the full Spanish team, and wasn't there like a full female team in a tournament at one point or something?
There was MCC 22.
Yeah, Sylvie, Ginelli, Blusher, and yourself. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, you broke 2 records there with the first full female team, which I mean, you guys came third. Oh no, that was individual third. You came third individual in that event, which was really cool. And then you won with a full Spanish speaking team. That must have been pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Scott has blessed me with the opportunity to just try a lot of different things, given that not only am I a woman, but also I happen to be decent at Minecraft. So, you know, once I joined, you know, the roster, you know, Scott started, you know, putting me as sort of like the quote unquote S tier of a team, and was able to finally make our first ever all women team, which was really cool. Honestly, it was such a fun MCC as well. And it's a memorable one as well, because I think I would have placed first individual in that one, but Sands of Time was a tragedy. So maybe don't go watch that back. But yeah, I mean, that was epic. Getting to play with them, getting to play with the Spanish team was really, really cool as well. I was really nervous because even though I am from Venezuela and my first language is Spanish, I don't speak Spanish often anymore because I, live in the US. Most people I speak with speak English, and even with my own parents, they speak to me in Spanish and I respond in English just because my brain has grown mold and all I can think now is in English. So I was very nervous because my Spanish, as I can understand it very well, whatever you say, I'll understand it, but my pronunciation of things and even like direct translation of things were freaking me out because I can speak Spanish, but like I never once in my life as a child had to say an iron chest plate in Spanish because by the time that I was playing Minecraft, I was already in English. So I didn't know how to say iron chest plate. I mean, I know how to say iron, but how in the world do you say chest plate? So like something like survival games during that event, I was so quiet. I was literally just sitting there like listening to them, and they were like, Jojo, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Like I'm just trying to think. But eventually I learned, for example, chest plate is pechera. Oh God, I almost forgot it again. So there you go. Now it's ingrained into my brain. Now I can't forget it. But it was very nerve-wracking, but it was so much fun as well because they just bring up the vibes. Those guys, they're really loud, happy people. So it just brings up the vibes like no matter what. Like you could be losing and you're still like throwing a party. So it was a really good time. And then of course I've also been spoiled with other teams. Like my MCC 25 was busted. Like it was me, CPK, Scar, and Joel, Smallish Beans. Like that is a crazy team. And that's one of the MCCs that we won. So it was just like, I don't know. I definitely feel blessed when it comes to MCC. I think I have a little bit of an edge because I'm a woman. And I think Scott likes bringing a lot of representation to the event. And I happen to be a woman and also gay. Well, to be more specific, pan. So I've been spoiled. I've been given a lot of really awesome teams, and I'm very thankful for it.
I think I understand like that way of thinking, and I agree with you that probably is the case. But I don't want to take away from that you are just a good content creator as well. Like you do deserve it. It's not just a case of being pan or because you're a woman. Yeah, maybe I'm not gonna say it is. Maybe that plays into it, and if you're saying that, that's fine. But I think it also just comes down to you being a good content creator. I really do. Like,
yeah, I appreciate that.
Maybe you've just worked hard enough to deserve it, and maybe I guess it's understandable why you might not want to turn around and think that or say that. But I am saying to you, I think it just comes from you working your ass off, and that's why you get given these opportunities. So
thanks. That's very sweet of you. I appreciate that.
Because you were born in Venezuela as well, right?
Yes.
What age did you move to America?
So I lived in Venezuela until I was 8 years old.
Oh, okay.
And then I've been living in Texas since then. So yeah, I learned all of my English in the States. In fact, my parents tell me that when I was in elementary school, I was like teaching my friends how to speak Spanish because I refused to learn English. So I think that's funny because now like I only think in English. But I have been trying to sort of rekindle some of my Spanish, thoughts back in my brain. I did start like a Spanish Twitch channel that I am not consistent in, but she exists. It's Jojosolita. So yeah, so I try to do streams on there sometimes and purely speak in Spanish so that I can once again learn my language. But I think the thing that makes me most self-conscious is like my accent, I guess, because obviously, like, when you're learning new languages, you don't really want to sound like quote unquote white, like hola, yo me llamo, like whatever. Like you don't want to sound like that, but it just becomes natural once your tongue gets so used to, speaking so much English. Luckily, my Spanish is still pretty decent, but I'm just very self-conscious about it. I like always overthink it. I'm like, oh God, do I sound stupid right now?
My girlfriend, she was born in England, but she's Argentinian, or at least half Argentinian. So she speaks Spanish, but
yeah.
So I've always had a lot of trouble learning other languages. I'd absolutely love to do it, and I can say some words in Spanish, not like the basics that you learn in school, or like on the first stages of Duolingo. But I've always wanted to learn like a different language. I just can't. So sometimes I try and get her to like speak to me in Spanish, and she just to say little things like dame is pass, and like other little words like that. So sometimes like around the house, I'll say like little words and like here and there. But she says it's so hard to speak to me in Spanish because I don't understand what she's saying.
Yeah.
So she's like, she can't do it. Like, we're gonna go to Argentina at one point. I don't know when, and they all speak English, which is great for me. She said like when we go over there, that's when I'll kind of see her like Spanish speaking side come out. Up until then, I'm never gonna get to see it because none of her, at least like the family that she has in England right now, none of them really speak Spanish. So I'm never gonna get to see it up until that point, which is really funny. But she's always telling me how sometimes she'll have like customers come in who are like on holiday or whatever, and you know, she'll pick up that they speak Spanish, and like her co-workers will kind of just look at her because she'll be serving them in Spanish and chatting, and it's like, why don't I get to see that? why don't I get to see that? But one day
that's maybe. Actually funny. I'm like so socially anxious that actually this happened recently because of when I was moving. I had two instances. I had people like go to where I used to live to do like a deep clean, and they were speaking in Spanish, and I don't know why. Like, I speak really good Spanish. I understand Spanish really, really well. But for some reason, when it came down to like, I'm talking to them and I'm like, hey, how long are you guys going to be here for? Because I'm just going to go run some errands. She was like struggling to say 2.5 hours. She held up her hand, like saying 2, and then like was really trying to say and a half, but didn't know how to say it. And I was like, oh, okay, 2 hours, that's fine. Like, I just didn't, I was too socially anxious to speak in Spanish and be like, oh, it's okay. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened in my brain. And then like, I think about it every day. I think about it now, just thinking about like, why didn't I just speak in Spanish and made their life a lot easier? Like, oh, it's something I think about all the time. Anyway,
it's fine. It's happened. Sometimes you're just in a moment, you're just like, oh God, I should have done this. But you know, you can't change it now. Oh, well, you're at your new place. You're probably never going to face that scenario again. So it's not a big deal, right?
I hope so. Oh God, I hope so.
You'll be fine. Don't overthink it. Just do you remember what one of your friends did from like 5 years ago that was really embarrassing? No, you don't. So why would anyone else remember what you did that was really embarrassing?
That's true. That is true. And now I just told everyone about it on this podcast.
Cut it out if you like. I mean,
no.
Part of it in the podcast. Stop.
Nah, you keep it in.
Kind of finding it to talk about is something that I'm quite interested in. Is commentary. So you've been doing quite a bit of that recently. You casted the most recent Twitch Rivals. I believe, and I could be wrong here, so correct me if I am, please. You were invited to commentate the MCC Twitch Rivals. But you was invited as a commentator and a player, right? Or am I just completely missing the mark here?
That is correct.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay. I was so scared. I was like, wait, when you said that is, I was like, oh no, they're gonna say wrong. I think it's a pretty obvious answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyways. Why did you choose to be a player?
Oh, you know, it's one of those scenarios where it was a really tough decision, because as much as I love MCC and really, really want to play it all the time possible, it was also financially a really dumb decision to decide to play in it instead of cast it. Because, you know, if you cast it, Twitch considers you a little bit more special, and they provide a hotel for you. They provide, you know, X amount of money for you. And I sat on it for a very long time. I really, really could not decide. But then I decided, you know, once I finally made up my mind, I realized the year before I had done not an MCC. I had done a Twitch Rivals in San Diego, and it was like on a stage and everything, and my team happened to win. Scott Smager was my team leader, so like that's how I was able to play it and whatever. And I just remembered like how epic it felt. Like, we won, we got trophies, it was really sick. Like, just the experience of being up there on stage and like playing against like your other friends, it's just such a sick experience. And ultimately I decided that, as much as a stupid financial decision it is, I just wanted to go up there and have fun with my friends. I wanted to experience something that I honestly am not sure if I'm ever going to get to do again. And especially for an event like MCC, like maybe there's a chance I'll play in another, you know, Twitch Rivals live on a stage, but who knows if it'll be an MCC. And I just wanted to make sure that I could confirm that the one MCC that I knew was happening, I would get to play in. And now now I'm in the headspace of like, I really hope they do another one because I want to cast it so that I can be a more like, I got my game in, I did it, I gamed it up. Now I want to cast because it'll be financially smart.
So if there's one in Europe then this year, which I have a strong feeling there's gonna be. I could be completely wrong. I don't know. I feel like it'd be such a smart idea for them to do one in Europe. So if there is one in Europe, will we be seeing you there then?
I hope so. It's not up to me.
If you are a caster, it's okay. Sorry, if you get offered to cast, yes, yeah.
Oh, dude, if I get offered to cast anything for a TwitchCon, I'm doing it because, especially a Europe one, I don't think it's gonna happen because I'm not European. I do have an Italian passport because I am half Italian.
Oh,
so I guess technically I'm European, but like I don't live in Europe and I'm not based in Europe, so I don't think they're gonna ask me to. Purely because like last year they were having issues with Fulham casting because he's from the UK and like it was in Vegas, so he couldn't cast it. So I don't know. Wait, was it Fulham? Yeah, it was Fulham. So you know, I hope they ask me to cast. If they don't, then I hope, you know, they ask me to cast any sort of events that happen in San Diego, because at least I have a little bit of a chance there. But yeah, breaks my heart. But literally any option to do it, I will gladly do it.
I have an Irish passport, and I did the research, and because I don't have an English passport, it makes it sometimes a little bit harder to get jobs. Because I always have to take my birth certificate. But I did a bit of research, and apparently I don't need a working visa to work in Rotterdam, because I mean obviously the opportunities are not going to come. But out of curiosity, you know how sometimes you just Google it in like your little fairyland kind of brain. I decided to Google if I could, and it said that I don't need a working visa because I have an Irish passport, and some kind of agreement because Ireland haven't left the EU or something. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. I guess that's good for like future reference if any opportunities ever arise. So
yeah, that is interesting.
What makes you enjoy casting so much?
Oh, dude, remember how we were talking about like the nervousness I get?
Yeah.
Minecraft events just like bring that to me no matter what. Casting is so much more relaxing because I just get to sit there and watch other people stress. And like, not that, you know, other people's stress is, you know, makes me happy, but knowing that I'm not stressed makes me happy. Okay. And it's just one of those scenarios where it's like most of the time, just to be completely honest, I am going to get paid more money to cast it than to play it. So I usually often prefer casting.
I genuinely, no word of lie, up until I talked to Kara, knew that you got paid to cast. I thought it was like voluntary. When I saw it, I was like, oh, because I said it to Kara, I was like, I'd do it for free. If I ever got you an opportunity, I'd be like, nah, it's fine, I'll get obviously I wouldn't say this, and that's obviously if they offered me money, I'd take it. But I genuinely thought it was a case of they just asked you, would you like to cast? You go yes, and that was it. I didn't know you got paid for it. I didn't know they provided a hotel. I was like, as soon as I found out, I was like, wow, that's mental. So that was definitely news.
You get princess treatment over there. Like I remember I believe it was TwitchCon San Diego. Yeah, I think it was TwitchCon San Diego when I did the Twitch Rivals that wasn't MCC. It was just the Minecraft, like, you know, defeat the dragon thing. Yeah. Ara was casting that and I was playing in it, and she was given a hotel that was literally attached to the convention center. So I just slept at hers that night because I didn't want to have to, like, you know, Uber all the way down like really early in the morning. So I just slept over at hers. And like, if you go in a specific, you know, back alley, whatever secret they have over there, they have like golf carts that just take you directly to the stage, and like all like in the background, of course. So I was like, hell yeah, this is sick. Like I feel like I'm on top of the world right now.
That's crazy. Wow, that's actually really cool. I guess it's really hard to get like casting role though. That's the thing. That's probably why you get the special treatment.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I often, when I reflect on a lot of the accomplishments I've gotten, I realize that it all kind of ties back to like something in specific, and me getting to cast literally just ties back to the fact that I know Spanish. That's literally the only reason that Twitch even knows who I am. I had never casted once before in my life until the Twitch Rivals, the Squidcraft Twitch Rivals.
Yeah.
That happened, was it last year or 2 years ago at this point? I already forgot, but they wanted me to cast it because I'm bilingual, and Squidcraft was created by like a Spanish speaking community. So, 80% of the content creators there were Spanish speakers and the rest were English speakers. And I got, set to cast, and it was like a 5-day show, and it was so much fun. Like, it was so much fun to just watch it all go down. It was actually super intense. And that's kind of what got Twitch to have my contact. And from then on, like, sometimes I get emails saying, hey, are you interested in the show? Like, it's going to happen this day. And I'm like, hell yeah, put me in. But yeah, shout out to being bilingual. There you go. Now you know.
Is it only Spanish and English you can speak, or is there other languages as well?
That is all, unfortunately.
Because you said you have an Italian passport, right?
I do. My father is Italian, so I visited a lot. I don't know any Italian. I am a disappointment.
Because what I was going to say is, and once again, this is from my girlfriend and her view on it. Because she speaks Spanish, we had this old co-worker, because we met at the warehouse shop. That's where we got together, and we both ended up leaving. But we had this co-worker who spoke Italian, and she could understand a good amount of what he said, because she said that the languages were a bit similar in that sense of understanding a few words. Is that the same with you? Are you able to understand a few words or no?
No.
Oh, really?
For me, well, like, yes and no. Like,
well, she couldn't
for
speak,
me,
she couldn't reply, she could only understand.
For me, what makes it hard is the accent. If you have a really heavy Italian accent, I cannot understand. If it's like very light and I can pick up on words they're saying, then yes, I'll be able to somewhat translate and be like, oh, this sounds like this word in Spanish. A lot of the words somewhat overlap. But in regards to, like, if someone is just speaking full out Italian, like, there is a 99% chance that I just don't understand because they speak very fast. My Spanish is very, like, medium speed, I would say. A lot of, especially, like, you mentioned she's Argentinian, right? Like, Argentinian people speak relatively fast, but also their accent is similar to Italian, I would say. So I would understand how she could pick up on it a lot more. I struggle to even understand Argentinian Spanish. Like, I struggle with specific Spanish dialects because they either go really, really fast, or I don't know, I just can't pick up on it.
Kind of moving a bit more into your content again then, kind of like back and forth here. You said you want to get more into YouTube content this year. You have uploaded a decent amount in the last year, for the sake of it. A little bit of game show stuff, MCC content. You also did the one of my personal favorites. I made an MCC Rising application again. That was a solid video.
Thank you. It's funny that video was made while I was in the UK, and my girlfriend like edited it and did everything. Like, it was a struggle.
Who was it that was meant to be in that video? There was someone who was meant to be in the video, but he got kicked out for Jivok.
Oh.
Who was it? Who said it? Because they told me on the podcast, but I can't remember which person it was. It was one of the most recent podcasts. It was either Kaman, Radoons, or Firebreath Man. It was Firebreath Man, wasn't it?
It was Firebreath Man. Yeah. Poor guy.
They weren't a big fan of that, actually. Poor soul.
No, yeah. He got pissed. Yeah, it's okay.
But it was a good video. It was a solid application. I'm actually really gutted you guys didn't get accepted. There was actually a strong part of me that really wanted you guys to get accepted just to see how people reacted, because I know, like, because what I wanted, right, best case scenario, you can't deal with, like, whatever team was meant to be accepted and Smaja or whoever was organising them. I think it was Avondale. No. Yeah, Avondale, who's organised. So, like, you can't deal with Avondale, Mori, and whoever was meant to be accepted. Have your team announced as being in, and then the next day get subbed out, and then a new team sub in. And that's why in my head I was like, people. That would have been such a good scenario. It was so many people got so annoyed at your application. Why are they reapplying? Like, come on, it's so clearly a joke. It's so like
people love to be angry on the internet, so you know.
Just get annoyed at anything. But I mean, you have some pretty good content. Also, looking at your most popular videos, you've been doing YouTube for like quite a long time. You did a tutorial video how I take notes on a Surface Pro.
How I take notes on a Surface Pro 2019, right? Yeah.
864K views. You have some like really good content that you've done over the years.
I have never locked down on one type of content. It's been an issue. Yeah, you can see I've done, IRLs, I've done unboxings, I've done Minecraft, I've done Fortnite, I've done Overwatch, I've done literally anything and everything. And that's why I know. And that's why I made a separate channel to do like Minecraft PvP. That's like more YouTube oriented. Like, it's very very like clickbaity, like, oh, this is how you get super OP, like, you know, just the super cringe type content. Like the content itself is not cringe, but like the thumbnail and title have to be so that it gets views. But that's what I did with that channel, because I was trying to grow it as if I was just a robot making content. And then I started the whole moving process, so it made my life a lot more difficult. But I really do enjoy that channel, like recording for it and stuff. I just haven't been able to recently.
When will we see the return of Nerd Texture Pack review?
Nerd solos. You know, if you send me a good texture pack, I can come back as soon as you send me that.
Listeners, comment your favorite texture pack below, and we'll get a Nerd Solos review on it. There we go. Live on stream as well. Did you hear that? Oh my god. Yeah, no, live on stream for a YouTube video. Because you also took up TikTok for a little bit as well. You up until March 7th, you did a solid 7 days of consistently uploading wordlies, and then that stopped. I guess that was because of the whole moving process as well, right?
Yeah, I also just got bored of it. I still love to do Wordle and all of those different mini games, but I like doing it with friends or on stream, because I'm a little bit of a troll. I like to like kind of piss people off, just to, you know, get them heated. So like sometimes I just like to, you know, make a little bit of a troll guess, but I just don't think it works if I'm recording to myself. So I like to do it more like either with friends or like if I'm playing it live. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with TikTok. TikTok is such a freaking hard one for me because my brain doesn't work like a TikToker. My brain is very old school. I like and enjoy old school type of content. Like if someone uploaded a 45-minute long video of them playing like a Minecraft let's play, I would love to just sit down and watch that, because that's how old school I am. But yeah, I don't know. I think for TikTok, it's hard because you literally just have to be ADHD like 24/7 on it.
Yeah, fair. So when you do kind of finally lock in and stuff, then do you have a rough idea of your schedule, or is that something you're still working on? Like, is it going to be a case of, you know, you split between Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, alternating days, or is this once again just something you are like not sure about yet?
I think right now the schedule I'm trying to figure out is my stream schedule, because if I can finalize a relatively consistent schedule of what I do on a weekly basis for streams, I think I'll be able to find the little holes in between that I can use for YouTube. I don't know about TikTok yet. TikTok is an anomaly for me. That one is something I gotta really dig into, really figure out. But right now I'm mostly just focused on Twitch and YouTube.
That's fair. Is there anything in this podcast that you thought I was going to bring up and you wanted to talk about, or have we pretty much covered everything?
I think we've covered it all.
I feel like we've done an amazing job, no?
I sure hope so. I hope I didn't put anyone to sleep.
Don't worry, you wouldn't have. And plus, if they did fall asleep, that means they've left the podcast going, and that's actually more watch time. So it's a win-win.
That's a 100% view duration rate. Let's go.
Exactly. So maybe it's a tactical masterclass.
Let's go.
Before we do wrap it up, though, I do have some Twitter questions for you, Jojo.
Oh, this is exciting.
So these ones aren't actually Twitter questions. These are just, I guess, compliments in a sense. But we have from Jake saying Jojo W, AJX with Yo and 4 exclamation marks, Beer Fungus saying that they love Jojosolos, Pandastra's pretty happy that you're here, Izzy, Happy Manstar, Avery, Artemis. A lot of people kind of miss the idea of a Twitter question and actually just went, yay, Jojo's on the podcast. But you know, fair play, guys. You got your shout out.
My goats.
The first one comes from Ghosty Fruit with a stolen Twitter question. Stolen, absolutely outrageous. But I'm gonna ask you guys: if you write a book about failure and it doesn't sell, is it considered a success?
Yes, absolutely. I think because you gotta have factual statements to back up anything you support. And if I'm gonna, you know, be talking about failure, I gotta have something to back it up. And that's example number 1 right there.
So it's a success.
It's wait, now I'm confused.
So you've written a book about failure.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sell, right?
Correct.
So no one buys it. So is that
it's a
considered success?
Yes, it is a success.
But then you wrote a book about failing.
That's okay. I just write another book about failure, and now I have proof, so people will buy it.
But then would that be considered a success?
That one would be considered a failure.
But people have bought it.
That's okay. It can still be a failure. You set your own parameters for success or failure.
Fair enough. Yeah, I had a whole thing with this on Ghosty, and with Ghosty, I'm not going through this again, especially when my brain is fully there. Yes, my throat is not. My throat is killing me. But you know what? It's fine. We're pushing through still.
Let's go.
The next one is from K No Meme. Do you want to try speedrunning?
Yes and no. I've speedrun a couple times before, like Minecraft at least. I don't know about other games. However, I don't like doing the ranked thing that they got going on because it makes me really nervous. So would I speedrun single player? Yes. Would I speedrun duels like the ranked stuff? No, no way.
Speedrun like MTS ranked. But you'd speedrun in general.
Yes.
Got you. And then the final one comes from Cat Potat. What's your favorite BTTV/7TV/FFZ emote?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. Oh shoot, hold on. I'm gonna have to open like my chat real quick so I can think. Okay, this is what it's called. Sorry, it's just a really long one, so that's why I don't know. Do you? Yeah. It's really long. Like I don't even know the full thing. It's do you feel the weight of your sins? Does it hurt? Do you know what that one is?
No, I have no clue what that is.
Do you? Oh, I don't have it on Discord, unfortunately. Here, this is what it looks like. I'm just gonna send a screenshot.
What an interesting emote.
Thank you. It's just like I think it's a good one because if you're on Twitch mobile and people are spamming that, it just looks like a big wall of text because it's really long. But yeah, here, let me see if I can just like
but for
copy
absolutely
paste.
anyone else, it's literally just oh my god.
Do you feel the weight of your sin? Does it hurt? Does God's judgment fill you with guilt, torment? They're coming, and then it gets cut off.
Can you, sorry, because I cut you off at the start there, can you re-say that one more time just so I can use it in the starting highlight?
Yes. Do you feel the weight of your sins? Does it hurt? Does God's judgment fill you with guilt, torment? They're coming! Perfect.
I'll probably cut off like the ing as well, just so like it's perfect to the emote. Just for the highlights, I'll keep it in for this part, bro. But that might,
I got you.
Depending if anything else is said, that might be the final clip that we see, which will be perfect. So.
That's perfect.
With that being said, though, Jojo, that sadly brings the end of this week's Inside MC. How sad.
Oh, I'm crying.
Don't cry. It's fine. I mean, at least you still have the rest of your afternoon. I mean, wait. So were you not working today because it was a bank holiday?
Oh, I actually don't know. I definitely worked today, but you know, I don't know if I was supposed to be off. Oh, that's a good question. I gotta check.
You said you do 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
So how are you on the podcast right now?
Oh, well, because I just have my laptop sitting on the side right now, waiting for me to get back to it.
Oh, you work from home. That would make sense. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you taking time away from work just to come on the podcast. Oh, I feel very appreciated. Thank you.
It's okay. I have a stream in like 17 minutes anyway, so.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Listen, work is when you make it be work. You know what I mean? And as long as I finish what I need to be doing by the end of the day, then we're happy.
So true and real. Outrageous. Well, Jojo, before I do the outro here, I always like to give this opportunity for the guest to promote themselves. Wherever you'd like here, where can we find you? What are your handles and everything? Please, the floor is yours.
Alrighty, thanks for everyone who is here to watch. My name has been and will continue to be Jojosolos. You can also just call me Jojo, and you can find me on twitch.tv/Jojosolos, youtube.com/Jojosolos. I think I actually don't know. Discord.gg/Jojosolos. Let's see what else exists out there. Twitter.com/Jojosolos. Anything with Jojosolos, or my brand new youtube.com/JojoDuos. Don't get it wrong. Thank you.
I tried searching it, but I couldn't find it. I'm sorry.
She's a small one still, so she doesn't really work that well. But let me do @JojoDuos. Oh, maybe I don't need to put the @ Oopsie. Maybe I do need to put the @
When I searched up @JojoDuos, it showed up. I found it.
Yeah.
That's the new channel you made this year. There we go.
Yes.
I'll put it in the description below anyways for the listeners who own YouTube. That way then you can go and find it directly. There you go.
Sweet.
Well, sadly, this is it. Go check out Jojo everywhere you can. All the places they promoted. Their YouTube and Twitch will be down below for YouTube. If you're on Spotify, you can just search their name up. It's not that hard. It's literally in the title. It's the exact same. But yeah, thank you, Jojo, for being such an amazing guest. It was an honor to have you on today to record on April 1st, which is I don't really do April Fools, so you know, this is actually a genuine podcast, which was really nice. And
this has been a joke.
Unless you've been lying the entire time, then it could
I've
be.
been lying.
Oh no, I've just been April Fooled. You know?
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Don't worry, I'm still uploading it anyways. I just cut that out. No one will ever know that you were lying. It'll all be true.
No.
This has been Inside MC. Thank you all for listening. Don't need too much bread. Pieces.